Hi everyone, Deborah here, your cyber security analyst at your service. Today I want to show you how you do penetration testing, what we cyber security analysts normally call pen test in short, or white hat hacking. But before I show you how it is done, let me explain to you briefly what pen test or white hat hacking is all about. So penetration testing is a simulated cyber attack on a computer system, network, or web application to identify vulnerabilities that an attacker could exploit. So it's like hiring a friendly hacker to find and fix security weaknesses in your computer systems before real attackers do. So penetration testing is a crucial cybersecurity practice that is aimed at identifying and addressing vulnerabilities within an organization's systems and networks. So yeah, there are types of penetration testing, like the common types, which is your black box. The black box testing, it requires testers to emulate the perspective of external attackers with limited or no prior knowledge of the target system. Then we also have white box testing, which offers testers complete access to the source code and architecture of the system. Normally, this is done by software developers. And then the third common one is called gray box testing, which strikes a balance between the two extremes. Testers have partial knowledge of the system, simulating the access levels that a potential attacker with some insider information, like certain parts of the internal structure of user credentials, might possess. So this approach provides a realistic assessment of security controls and vulnerabilities. So yeah, it's very important to perform penetration testing. The main importance of penetration testing includes identifying vulnerabilities. So this helps organizations to find and fix weaknesses before attackers can exploit them. So you can imagine you're saving a lot of money rather than to wait after you are hacked. So it's a good practice. And then you also have compliance as the importance of penetration testing. So many regulations and standards require regular security testing. Then, of course, security awareness. This increases the understanding of security risks among staff and stakeholders. So now that you have an idea of what pen test is, so let's dive straight into the demonstration. You might have wondered why I have Kali Linux on my screen. It's running in my virtual box, and I also have Windows Server 2022. So this is a setup environment that I'm going to use to demonstrate how you do penetration testing. So yeah, let's go straight into it. Let's have some fun. I'm gonna teach you how to hack. Well, this is ethical hacking, so yeah. Okay, let's do this. So the first thing that you want to do is to do a pre-configuration on the server to be hacked. So in this demonstration, I'm going to create weak links to make the system vulnerable. So you need to connect both the servers, your Kali Linux and the Windows server. You need to connect them to an internal network, because with internal network pen testing, it simulates an attack on your organization based on the premise that the hacker already has access to your internal network. Then from there, the test aims to document and analyze exactly what the attacker can do once inside. So here, as you can see, my Windows Server 2022, this is the network and is already in an internal network that I created. Right, so I'm going to show you how you do that. I'm going to isolate these two virtual machines from the PC network. So you go ahead and open your command prompt, run as administrator, and then there is a command that you need to use, which is this command here. So as you can see, In this command, these are the IP address ranges that I'm going to use for those two servers. So the lower IP will be 192.168.56.100 and the upper IP will be 192.168.56.200, and that's the subnet mask, and I have enabled it. So you see I'm getting an error because I had already set up this environment. So that's why it's saying a DHCP server already exists. So in your case, when you are running this code, then it won't give you this error. It will then go ahead and isolate the these virtual machines from the PC network and give them their own IP addresses. Right, so having done that, then on the Windows Server machine, we are going to enable remote desktop protocol. So the RDP will allow the remote access to your Windows Server, which is a common attack vector. Right, so I'm going to show you how to do this, and then there are some server roles and features that I'm also going to enable, right, so that this Windows Server will be vulnerable to the external attack. Right, so now that we have managed to isolate the virtual machines from the PC network and gave them their own IP addresses. So here I'm already now in Windows Server 2022. You open your CMD, right, run as administrator, and then let's just verify this, that we have allocated those IP addresses. Right, so let's see the IP address. So yes, this virtual machine has got its own IP address that we have isolated it from the PC network, which is 192.168.56.101. Right. Now Windows Server 2022, I'm going to enable the remote desktop so that when the RDP is enabled, it will allow the remote access to this server, which is a common attack vector. So that is what I'm going to do. So on your local server, right, in properties, that's where you find remote management and remote desktop. Remember I said I'm going to use brute force to RDP into this Windows server. Right, so I'm going to start with the remote management. I need to make sure that this is enabled. Alright, then we enable the remote management of the server from other computers. Then you click on OK. Alright, let's just wait for that configuration to be enabled. Okay, it's still running. It's still enabling the configure remote management. Right, then it's enabled, and then from there I need to enable the remote desktop. So I'll go ahead and click on this disabled to enable it. Allow remote connections to this computer, yes. Remote desktop file exception will be enabled. You chose to enable remote desktop connection for all network connections on this computer. Alright, so then I'm just going to click on OK. Alright, then okay, I've enabled that. Let's just refresh. Right, then the remote management and the RDP is enabled. Then you go also on your settings. Right, let's go to settings. Actually system, not settings. Right, let's go to the system. Then we go to remote desktop. So remote desktop there is on. Then I need to go to the advanced settings. I need to allow configure network level authentication. This requires computers to use network level authentication to connect. That's recommended. So I am not going to use this. Right. Alright, so from here you need to go to system. Right. So after you've enabled your RDP, right, and then you go to the remote desktop system settings. There it's on. Then you go to your advanced settings. So configure network level authentication. So we must leave this unchecked if you want to allow for weaker security. So I'm gonna leave this unchecked like that. Right, so we have enabled the RDP. Right, and then from here, and this is what we are going to do now. Right, so from here now, I'm going to open the firewall port for the RDP. I'm going to do this by going to control panel. Then I have to choose okay, I need Windows Defender Firewall. Right, and then on Windows Defender Firewall, then let's go to advanced settings. Right, and then here I need to set my inbound rules. Right, so I'm going to look for, right, let's just open the inbound rules. I'm going to enable a rule, the RDP TCP in, to allow for port 3389. So this is going to allow the RDP traffic through the firewall on port 3389. So I need to scroll down until I get to the RDP TCP in and make sure that it's enabled. Right, so I'm just going to double check. Like I said, I'd already set up my environment, right, to make this server security vulnerable. So here I have remote desktop TCP in. I've got the shadow TCP in and the user mode. Right, so let's go and check. TCP in, we want port 3389. That's the one that we are going to allow. So both of them, they have to be enabled. Right, so this is already enabled. So I'll leave it like that. And then I also have this one is enabled. Right. So if it was disabled, then you would go ahead and enable it, right, to create that simulated to simulate the weaker security on this server. Right. Then from here, I'm going to open the firewall ports for SMB. Okay. So in the inbound rules, I have to go and check my SMB. Alright, so that's my SMB. Now S I've got SNMP. Okay, right. Wait up. We haven't added the feature. We haven't added the roles and features. So before you even do that, right, you need to go back. I already missed that. Alright, so we need to go back and then we're going to add roles and features. Alright, so we're gonna need to add, let me go next. Alright, so that's the file and storage services. This, okay, that one is already selected. Right, and then we are also going to need the web server IIS service. Alright, so let's just do this now. Okay. Alright, so I'm gonna go and just edit. Alright, then I'm gonna add that feature. Then from here, Now let's see the other ones. Remote access as well, it has to be added. And remote desktop service. Okay, then let's go next. Then the features here, we need the IIS hostable web core and also the okay, RAS is already selected. Right, then we need SMB file sharing support. We need to add that. Okay. Now you could also select your SMB bandwidth to limit the SMB bandwidth limit to provide the mechanism to track your SMB traffic per category. And we'll select that, and then from here, let's see if there's anything else that we need. Right, are there any other features? No. Right, so then we go next. Right, and that's the web server roles, HTTP redirection, the performance, security, client mapping. Right, and then we're also going to need our right with FTP service, FTP server, FTP service management. Right, we're going to need IIS6 management compatibility and also the scripts and management service. Right, and then let's go next. Then the role services, direct access and VPN, routing, web. So we're just going to choose the role service now here for remote access. We're going to use the direct access. Alright, so then I'll add the feature. And also we'll need the web application proxy. Alright, let's go next. Remote desktop connection. We need the gateway, we need web access. Alright, so we go next. Alright, then we're going to install these roles and features. Alright, so I'm going to fast track this as the installation is going, and then once the installation of the roles and features that we have added onto our web server, our server, Windows Server 2022, right? Then from here we are going to open now the port for SMB. Right, so the roles and features have finished installing. Then I'm just going to close there. Right, so we are going to need to restart the server. Let me just refresh first. So the refresh completed with one or more warning messages. Let's just have a look. Feature installation, automatic refresh, automatic refresh. I'll just need to restart. Let me just restart. Right, let me restart the server first. Right, so there are updates there. So I'll fast track this again up till the updates have completed, so that from here I will now open the inbound rules, or I'll enable the inbound rules for the file sharing the SMB. I'll enable port 445. Okay. Right, so all the server roles and features have been installed. Now from here, I want to open the firewall ports for SMB. So I'm going to do that by using the going to Control Panel and Windows Defender. Right, so I go there, and then I need Control Panel. Right, and then in Control Panel, I'm going to use System and Security, and then I need the Windows Defender firewall. Right, let's go to the Advanced Settings. Let's now enable the rule for opening the firewall ports for SMB. So it has to be file and printer sharing SMB in from our inbound rules. Alright, then you scroll down this file and printer sharing. We need the file and printer sharing SMB in. I need to enable that rule. So I have file and printer sharing NB. This is the file and printer sharing SMB in. 1, 2, 3, all the three. Alright, so let's see. So it's enabled, the domain is not enabled, the public is not enabled, and the private is the only one that's enabled. So I'm gonna have to enable the domain and also the public. So it has to be on TCP port 445. So I need to enable that rule, and then I also need to enable this rule. This one is already enabled for us. Right, this one was enabled already. Right, then let's close there. Right, and then from here, let me also close the Windows Defender file. Right, then from here we have installed the IIS feature. Right, this is the web server feature that I have installed. So for the web server IIS feature, there's just some configuration that we need to do, because remember it runs on HTTP or HTTPS. So to configure now IIS for HTTP, right, before we even configure it to HTTPS, let's go to IIS service, right, and then you go to the IIS manager. Right, let's just test it. Right, we need to find our default site, which is this one here, the default website. Right, and then on the default website, let's try to browse HTTP. Right, so it's going to open the IIS welcome page. Right, so there it is. So we've managed to enable or to configure the HTTP. So now configuring the HTTPS. So let's install a self-signed an SSL, a self-signed certificate for HTTPS in the IIS manager. Right, so I'm just gonna close this. Then again, I go to the Internet Information Service Manager. Then from here, okay, let me just do that. Okay, doesn't want to pop up. Let me just minimize that. Right, I hope this is better. Right, and then from here, I'm going to configure the IIS for HTTPS by installing a self-signed certificate for HTTPS. Right, so this is our server. Then what I want to do here, I need to go to the default website and then edit under bindings. So this is my default website. right? And then I need inner site and bindings there, right? And then from here I need to assign the certificate for HTTPS. This HTTPS. Right, so I'm going to configure the IIS for HTTPS by assigning or installing a self-signed certificate. So I'm going to show you how you do this, even though I had already assigned a self-signed certificate. So in your IIS manager, you go on, click on the server, which is, this is our server there, and then we go to server certificates and open feature. So when you open the feature, you see the server certificates that are already assigned. So I already assigned my serve. The self-assigned one is this one here. This is the one that I created, the self-signed certificate, which is my server set. And yeah, that's the certificate hash key. That's the expiration date, 28 October 2025. Then the certificate store is personal. So here on the actions, this is where you create a self-signed certificate. You can create domain certificate, you can create certificate request, you can enable automatic rebind of renewed certificate. Alright, so this is what you do. Then you create, then you give a friendly name, then you select a certificate store for the new certificate. If it's web hosting, then you will select the web hosting, else you leave it on the default personal. Alright, so after having done that, those configurations, now we need to go and set up a shared folder in our file explorer. Right, this is a shared folder that you might want to share. So I'm gonna close there. Right, let's just close our IIS, and then we'll go straight to the to opening file explorer. Right, so that's our Windows file explorer. Right, then you are going to create it in here. Right, our shared folder. Right, so you'd create it in your local disk C. So now we need to set up a shared folder in our C drive. So this is a shared folder that you've created. Yeah, and then from here I need to configure the permissions as I wish. So for example, I'm gonna give full access. This is for testing weak security, and then limited access will be for stricter scenarios. I'm gonna right click there. Right, and then from here I'm going to go to right, let's go there. Right, and then I'm going to give access to specific people. There's a permission level there. Why for some reason it keeps on just typing the G, because I am doing desktop screen recording. So each time that I enable it, then it keeps on typing this automatically, the G's. But anyway, these are the permissions. This is a full access read or write. Right, and then I'm just gonna go, okay, let's go there, let's go to properties. Right, so in properties here, then you can see that this is the shared folder. Then you go to the sharing tab. Right, and then this is the shared folder you want to share. Then you go to the advanced settings. If you go to shared folder, and then permissions, then I'm going to give full control. And then I'm going to click on OK. Then apply, then okay, then close. Right, and then from here I'm gonna connect to my Kali Linux so that I'll be able to connect remotely. I'm now going to show you how to configure Kali, or how to use Kali now to hack into this Windows Server 2022. Da-da-da-da. Right, I'm gonna show you the most interesting part, so hang in there, hang in there. Right, so now this is the interesting part. Now I am ready. I'm preparing to hack into the Windows Server 2022 machine. So in Kali Linux, this is what I'm gonna do. First of all, I need to listen to port 3389 if it's opened. So I'm gonna use Nmap. Right, so I'm gonna open my Kali Linux root, my terminal emulator. So this is like your CMD. Right, let's open it. Okay, is it not opening now? Come on. Oh, I need to. Okay, right, there we are. Right, then I normally like to work directly from the root, so I'm gonna type this command to take me to the root. That's sudo su. Alright, and then I'm just gonna enter the password. Right, so I'm in root Kali now, and then from here I'm going to use the nmap tool. Alright, so I'm gonna nmap port 3389 right into the server machine 192.168.56.101. Right, so it's already checking if the RDP port is opened, so it's gonna start nmap. Right, which is a very good network monitoring tool as well that you can use in cybersecurity. So the reason why I'm using Kali Linux is a very good tool as well for cybersecurity analysts or IT administrator professionals. We use this for pen testing and also ethical hacking. You see that with Kali Linux, it's got a lot of cybersecurity tools that you can use, from your Nmap to your Wireshark, all those network monitoring tools. Yeah, there's a lot I'll show you just now, but let's now check if the TCP port is open. Yes, it is opened. There it is. Right, so that's one IP address scanned in 13.31 seconds. Right, so then from here I'm gonna use brute force and RDP login into the Windows Server 2022. So the best tool to use will be Hydra. So this is in the case when you do not know both the username and the password of the server machine that you want to hack into. So you use Hydra. Right. So Hydra is very good to perform brute force attacks on login credentials. So this is the command that I'm going to use. Let me just grab it from my notepad, then I'll explain to you. Alright, so that's my Hydra. Alright, let me copy that, and I'm gonna paste it here. Right, so I'm gonna use Hydra. So what Hydra is going to do is going to check for any possible username and passwords, right, that have been used on that machine, on the Windows Server 2022 machine, and then it will finally identify the correct or the current one. So let's run this command and see. Right, so there it is. As you can see, it's running. It's checking those are all the attempted logins, as you can see. So once it finds the actual username and password of this target PC, it will highlight it, or at the end when the script finishes, right, at the end of the script, as you can see, it will show there how many targets have been successfully completed and the valid password found. So in this case, there's one of one target. So you have to scroll up now and check which one it is. As you can see, there are failed attempts there. There's login, guest, password, sunny days, hello world. Alright, so these are all the other username and password. So it will guess the possible usernames and passwords that have been used on this machine. Alright, so there it is there. Alright, so this is the correct one. So this is what I'm going to use now. So there it is. That Windows Server is exposed because remember we set up all the security vulnerabilities or the weak links for us to be able to hack into the system, of which, yes, these weak links, they are possible in the real environment. You can find such weak links because hackers, they just want to find a weak link of which they're going to use to penetrate into your system. So if they find anyone, they'll utilize it to their advantage. Right. So yeah, so then from here, I'm going to install now in my Kali Linux, I'm going to install remote desktop access, so that I'll be able to RDP into that machine or hack into the machine. Alright, so I'm gonna hack the machine. Alright, so that's sudo apt. I'm so excited, man. Yeah, and then we wanna get alright, so I'm gonna get install our desktop. Right, and then I'm gonna install my RDP access. Hi, so my desktop is already the newest version, so there's no need for me to update. So meaning that it was installed already. Right, and then from here, I'm gonna use the RA desktop to connect to the Windows Server. Right, because I've already installed this RA desktop, I can use it now to crack the username and the password to log in, of which Hydra did that for me. I already know the username and password of this Windows Server 2022. So this is the command that I'm going to use. Alright, let me just grab it. Okay, then I'm just gonna paste it here. Alright, so that's our desktop, the IP address of that Windows server, the username is administrator, and there is the correct password. So let's see. Alright, so it's establishing the connection, and yes, guess what? I am in. I'm in. Come now, come now. Alright, let's just wait for it. Let's wait for the remote desktop connection to be established. There we are. So I'm already in. Remember, I was creating a shared folder in my Windows Server 2022. So then it shows me, like when I'm in, it shows you the current actions that were made on that server. So then, yeah, okay, I'm actually in. I've hacked this machine. I can do whatever I want now. I have control, as you can see, and I am somewhere else. I'm the hacker. So yeah, guys, that's it. I hope you've learned one or two things. This is ethical hacking, cyber security analyst Deborah. I'm signing out. I'll catch you guys in our next video. I'm not gonna tell you what it is all about, but be prepared to have fun. All right, cheers, guys. Bye.